Hi, my name is Tim Meisberger, and I'm the Director for Election Integrity at the America Project. Before that, I was the Director for Democracy and Governance in the Trump administration at USAID and responsible for most of our foreign assistance for democracy and elections. And prior to that, I spent 30 years overseas doing elections and democracy work. I understand election integrity. I think when you look at election integrity, when you look at election observation, you see most of it occurring on election day itself. But what we understand from all those years overseas is that there are many things that can happen before an election that can affect the integrity of the process. So what we practiced overseas and what we are introducing in the United States is the concept of long-term observation. What that means is we're going to send people out, observers out, throughout what we call the election cycle. An election cycle begins at the end of one election and goes all the way through to the next election day. So long-term observers do many things. One thing, they can look at the environment and identify problems early on that can be corrected before the election. So rather than only reporting on problems after the fact, when it's too late to do anything, they can actually help to shape a free and fair election environment. They also let election officials or party officials or other people that might be contemplating some sort of fraud or malpractice, they let them know that they're being observed. In fact, they're enhancing the transparency of the entire election process. Long-term election observers are also important in that they lay the groundwork for election day observation. And so I think Diana's going to go into detail on how we're doing this in this current election cycle and why we're doing it. And we hope to introduce this across the country for 2024. So over to you, Diana.
Hi, I'm Diana, and I'm with the America Project, and I'm here to talk to you about long-term election observations, specifically monitoring the elections through interviewing local election officials. We call this Operation Eagle's Wings. In an effort to promote free, fair, and transparent elections, Operation Eagle's Wings will engage citizens at the state and local levels in order to observe and ask questions about how election laws and regulations are implemented. To this end, citizens will be trained on ways to engage to promote positive outcomes at the legislative and regulatory levels. To help ensure a free and fair election for all voters, volunteer observers or poll watchers should monitor election processes and procedures throughout the entire election process. Observers can deter malfeasance and cheating, or by detecting and formally documenting such malfeasance, and can deny legitimacy to fraudulent elections and provide evidence for lawsuits and other post-election court cases. By increasing the transparency of the election, observers can enhance public confidence in the integrity of the election process. Pre-election observation. Observation will be conducted in phases, beginning with pre-election observation. During the pre-election phase, observers will look at the voter list, election administration, the legal framework and procedures for elections, and the broader election environment. Pre-election observation seeks to confirm the process or to highlight potential problems or concerns so that they can be addressed prior to the election. Pre-election observers are usually referred to as long-term observers, or LTOs. LTOs often play an important role in recruiting, training, and managing the larger number of volunteers needed closer to Election Day. In contrast to poll watchers, pre-election observers are nonpartisan and do not represent a specific party. Instead, they represent all voters, and their primary objective is ensuring free and fair procedures for all voters, regardless of the outcome. The first activity for the LTOs will be a baseline interview with the senior county or municipal election official. We call them registrars in Virginia. In Florida, they're called supervisors of the election. Every state has a different title for the person running the operations of the election. Interviews will be conducted based on a standard questionnaire developed by your state team. Standard questions will contribute to a consistent and professional approach and allow us to compare and contrast across the state. Data collected will inform future engagement with election and party officials. It's important for you to know the role of your local official. Who hires them? Who do they answer to? Etc. In general, the local election official manages the records and activities of the election at the county level. Know who hires these officials in your state. In Virginia, they were hired by the local electoral board. So how are they hired? Who do they answer to? And why does this matter? Goals. Our goals are to engage the official in discussing the processes and procedures of their office. Your job is to get an appointment with the official. We ask that you build a team of local citizens to engage with the official. Teams look different from state to state. Teams can be senior citizens, interested parties, or even new voters who want to know more about the election process. We want you to share information with your local leadership team. What are you finding is problematic at the local level? What is going very well at the local level? Sharing information helps us ensure that the election process is free and fair. The leadership team will interpret the information and share it with the community through reports. We always want you to follow up with a thank you note to your officials. Why? Because we are engaging, not just interviewing. This entire process is about citizens engaging at a local level so that at any time they can talk to the election official and get their questions answered if there are any about how the laws are being implemented in their locality. So the first thing you have to do is you have to get the appointment. Here's a few do's and don'ts. Do tell them that this is a citizen engagement project. Do say this is an opportunity for our citizen team to learn more about the official's office. Do be polite and flexible, and do follow up with an email to confirm your appointment. Don't say, we want to investigate the stolen elections. We're not here to be investigators. We're here to engage. Don't be too pushy. The nicer you are, the more likely you will get the appointment. Don't take no for an answer. This is a balance act of being polite but firm. Remember, these individuals are servants of the people. We're asking them to have a meeting to share with us how they are implementing the law in their office. This should not be problematic. Don't say, Trump won, get over it. Just kidding, we know you wouldn't do that. Build the team. As we said before, we want you to engage students, seniors, and a variety of citizens, including new voters. This appeals to the officials as a feel-good meeting. Split the questions at the engagement so that everyone gets a chance to ask questions, including follow-up questions. It's okay that you're asking multiple follow-up questions so that you're getting a clear answer about the processes and procedures of their office. Be sure all the team members are educated about the goals, the processes, and how the project works. Review the do's and don'ts of what we want to say and what we don't want to say. Provide the training. Remember, this is a nonpartisan effort, and we want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Know before you go. Get some facts about the locality that you're visiting, such as who are the electoral board members? Have there been local news stories about this office? Have there been reports of election day or reporting issues? How many voters are there? How many voting precincts are there? These are just initial questions to ask. In the engagement, you want to be on time and introduce your team members. Let them know that they're being recorded for the integrity of the meeting. Most people will understand and will not object. Be sure to know the laws about two-party recording in your state. Give them a copy of the questions at the onset of the meeting. Ask follow-up questions or ask for clarification when needed. Ask the team members if they have follow-up questions. Share with the official about your project and where they can find your reports. Keep your game face. If something alarming is said, just keep moving forward and ask follow-up questions. If there's a really difficult topic that arises, you'll want to talk to your state's team leader. After the engagement, you'll want to send an email or a handwritten note to say thank you. This builds positive reputations for the organization and also builds a sense of community. Share the findings with the team members. If there are red flag issues, point them out immediately. Then move on and set the next appointment. What we don't do. We don't do Zoom or other video conferencing. These are meant to be face-to-face interviews that build relationship. We don't undermine our relationships by missing engagements or canceling engagements. This creates a poor community connection. We don't email in advance. We don't send them the questions in advance because the teams may have different questions. Why? This is a civic engagement exercise to obtain information. More information is shared in face-to-face talk than in email responses. Get the tools that make your life easier. Some apps that we've used effectively are Genius Scan, Dropbox, Google Docs, freeconferencecall.com, and the Recorder app. These tools don't cost your team any money. Just remember, it's about you. I have come to the conclusion that politics is too serious a matter to be left to the politicians. This was said by Charles de Gaulle. It was true then, and it's true today. It is about you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for doing the hard work of long-term election observation. Thank you.